Right now, all eyes might be on the Huawei Mate 30 Pro with its ultra-curved display that extends towards the edges and has really cool virtual buttons. But they weren't the first to actually launch a phone with this feature. It was Vivo, specifically with the NEX 3. The NEX series, so far, has been sort of an experimental ground for Vivo, bringing innovative, borderline obscure design features like the pop-up camera, for example, from the original NEX, and the dual display from the NEX 2. And just like the first two, the NEX 3 is actually more than what meets the eye. Right off the bat, the phone just looks great. The all-screen display and glass back plus the metal frame seamlessly fit together. At the upper center of the back is what Vivo calls the lunar ring camera. That, I don't know about you guys, but it kinda looks like an Oreo. It consists of 3 cameras and honestly it does look pretty cool and unique. So yes, there are no physical buttons on the sides of the NEX 3, not even a power button like on the Mate 30 Pro. It's nice that there are markings on the sides that let you visually identify where the virtual buttons are located, and yes, this means that unlike the ones on the Mate 30 Pro, these ones are physically locked, so you can't adjust which side of the phone they're on. It does have an unusual setup though, with the power button being in between the volume up and volume down buttons. But they have nice haptic feedback, they're very responsive, and pressure sensitivity is adjustable. There is actually still a physical power button, but it's on top. You don't actually have to use it since you can turn on the phone with the virtual power button, but it's nice that you still have it in case you need it. Also on top are the pop-up camera, which is no longer towards the side. This one is wider, but it's centered. Unfortunately, since we do get a pop-up camera, don't expect an IP rating. We also have the headphone jack, secondary microphone, and speaker on top. At the bottom are the dual SIM slot that unfortunately does not have space for a micro SD card, main microphone, Type-C port, and the main loudspeaker. Now arguably the best thing about the NEX 3 is the display. We get a 6.89-inch waterfall P-OLED display with a resolution of 2256 by 1080. And because of the really thin top and bottom bezels plus the curved sides, we have an incredible screen-to-body ratio of 99.6%. It's just amazing to look at. The screen literally wraps around the sides of the phone. Of course, we get cool virtual buttons and palm rejection on the sides works very well. Quality so far is impressive. As it's sharp, it has bold and vibrant colors, viewing angles are good, and at maximum brightness, you won't have any problems with direct sunlight. We also get support for HDR10 content, and it's really nice that we get ambient lights around the sides when you play music or get an incoming call. It will consume more battery this way, but we still like this little touch. And this being Vivo, of course, the screen also includes an under-display fingerprint scanner. It's fast and reliable enough for daily use, and actually it's interesting that if it fails 3 times, Face Unlock is activated. It's like having a second layer of security just so the phone can be sure. On the audio side of things, wired headphone users are in for a treat since we get a hi-fi DAC built into the headphone jack. But for the top and bottom firing speakers, I wouldn't exactly say the same. They can get loud enough for a medium to small sized room, and highs and mids are crisp to a certain extent, but it's definitely lacking in bass and just overall depth. For software, we get Android 9 Pie skinned with Vivo's FunTouch OS 9.1 on top. You still get pretty much the same interface as their other devices, except this iteration is complemented by that dynamic display. It somehow does make the experience a little bit more different. Unfortunately, there's no app drawer, but there are a few features that can come in handy, like smart motion, one-handed mode, face beauty filters for video calls, plus you have a lot of customization options for the display, notifications, and the ambient lights that appear on the edges of the screen. And it has native dark mode, which goes hand in hand with the nice always-on display, which can make for a really handsome UI. If you're primarily an Android user, like on stock Android or other Android skins, you do eventually have to get used to the fact that you have to access the control center by swiping up from the bottom instead of from the top, like you would on an iPhone. But notifications are still seen by swiping down from the top. The UI is buttery smooth thanks to the Snapdragon 855 Plus chipset plus 8GB of RAM. It's a pretty powerful set of hardware, and the phone can easily handle any task thrown at it, including heavy gaming of course. No lags, no frame drops, you know the rest. This is Qualcomm's current most powerful chipset after all. We're gonna flash the benchmark scores on screen right now. Now, keeping this device running is a huge 4,500 mAh battery with Vivo's 44-watt super flash charge. In our video loop test, we yielded a total of 24 hours and 10 minutes. Which might sound insane, but this doesn't exactly indicate how it performs on a daily basis. But it does last a long time, more than a whole day in our experience on moderate usage. Charging, on the other hand, takes about 2 hours when you use a normal 10-watt charger. Unfortunately, our unit did not come with a 44-watt super flash charger, but you can just imagine it'll definitely take less than an hour to get from 0 to 100. Moving on to cameras. The NEX 3 packs 3 shooters at the back consisting of a main 64-megapixel Samsung ISO sensor, 13-megapixel ultra-wide lens, and a 13-megapixel telephoto lens. Meanwhile, in front is a 16-megapixel elevating camera for selfies. When it comes to quality, photos from the rear camera look great, especially under good lighting. We get clear photos with vibrant colors, good saturation levels, and contrast. Additionally, when you're in the Pro mode, you can save your photos in both JPEG and RAW formats. For scaling reference, here's what photos look like when you use the ultra-wide and telephoto lenses. We took these shots from the same position. When you use the 64-megapixel mode, you can really expect a lot of details and sharpness, but the file size does increase accordingly, so I don't suggest using it all the time. We don't get much noise with night shots even without night mode, which is great, but if you really want to boost the brightness and saturation and lose some noise, simply use the night mode and instantly you get a better shot. For portrait photos, we get good results for the most part. Just be sure to tap focus on your subject to get the best results. But overall, subject background separation is good and the bokeh effect doesn't affect the subject. The phone also has great potential for macro shots. Although it's not perfect, we still get cool results. Now for selfies, there's definitely some post-processing going on that actually boosts the look of the photos in a good way, in my opinion. It's not only due to the built-in AI recognition, but also because you got Hyper HDR on board. If this look bothers you though, you can still turn these settings off in the camera settings. For videos, you can shoot up to 4K at 60 FPS and you can toggle from normal to ultra-wide to 5x zoom in one shot. Video quality is pretty much the same as photo quality, but make sure you have a steady hand because stabilization, while it's present, still needs improvement. Now, while it isn't the best device you can get for sure, the NEX 3 still delivers on its part as a 2019 flagship smartphone. Of course, its main selling points though are that really pretty design and display, the big battery that can charge really fast, it's also got a good set of cameras, and don't forget about that performance thanks to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 Plus chipset. We don't have pricing information for the Philippines just yet, but in China, this 4G version costs 4,889 yuan or roughly 36,000 Philippine pesos. And for that price, it's actually not bad for everything that it offers. And if you are interested, the NEX 3 is actually coming to the Asia Pacific and Southeast Asian markets pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. So, what do you guys think about the Vivo NEX 3? Let us know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit the bell icon to update new future uploads, and be sure to visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Joey, and I'll see you guys in the next one.